Are we live? Let me see. Said I had a poor connection, so hold on a second. I want to make sure that we're working here. Yes, I'm live. Yay! Welcome to Lunchtime Live with Sharon Galuzzo. So glad that you're here. Getting my other computer set up so that I can keep track of everything. If you have any questions or comments that you want to add to the conversation, just make a comment. It'll pop up. I'll be able to see what you say and answer any questions that you might have, and we'll be able to make a better connection that way with your participation. I don't want this to be a one-way thing. It has been thus far as we're sort of building our audience and stuff, but if you have something to contribute, please do. It's more fun whenever I have somebody to talk to. So before I get into today's topic, I thought I would just spend a couple minutes while people are jumping on live so they don't miss anything. This weekend, my husband and I we went to New York for a wedding. Actually, the wedding was in New Jersey, but we had a really good time, and we stayed with my in-laws, and my in-laws were at a different wedding on Saturday. The wedding we attended was on Sunday, and so afterwards we were comparing notes on what happened at each wedding and how they were different. And so driving home, my husband and I had a conversation about how different our wedding was from the weddings that we had just attended, and it got me thinking that, you know, it doesn't really matter what your wedding is like. It's going to be unique to the person, to their personalities, to the couple, what they want to do to celebrate that event. But the end product is always the same. The end product is that the couple is married, and that is the destination. So it doesn't really matter how you get there. It doesn't matter if you elope or go to the beach or have a church wedding or something at a venue, at a hotel. The end result, even at a, you know, justice of the peace at the courts, the end result is that the couple is married. So that actually sort of segues into what I'm going to talk about today, and that is let's see if I can get that to play. That is what's in the box. So boxes come in all shapes and sizes, all kinds of colors. They're big, they're small, they have printing all over them, they're very plain. There's lots of different boxes in our lives. And in our businesses, we also have boxes. We don't necessarily can talk about them as boxes. We say, oh, this is just somebody is extroverted or somebody is introverted. We have lots of descriptions for people. We have all sorts of assessments that we can do. There's DISC, DISC, there's NJ, MTBQ, whatever that whole letter one is. You could be an optimist or a pessimist. What's your love language? What's your sign? There's all kinds of ways that we as humans have created to sort of put people in boxes. So I need to know what box do you fit in? Are you in this box, or are you in this box? Are you an introvert, or are you an extrovert? So that I can know how to communicate with you, so that I can understand you. And that's how these boxes are very good, because these assessments, these personality things were designed because people need to understand other people. We are who we are, and other people react and engage in the world in a very different way. So these things can become very useful if you know that, for example, I know that my husband is an introvert. So I know that whenever he's been out all day and he comes home and he is spent, that he needs some quiet time alone. That's not my time to go jump in his face and go, we need to do this, that, and the other thing, and we have to. He needs that time to decompress, to restore his energy, and then he can come back and engage with me. So knowing that is an introvert is very helpful to our communication. However, the challenge and the problem comes whenever we make those boxes be who the person is. When we do this in our business, we can limit what we can get and the interactions and the depth of connection that we can have with our customers, with people that we network with our peers, with our neighbors. We can really limit, because of our perception of them, what our relationship can be. So taking our customers and saying, oh, well, he's a C, and that's a calculating person in the DISC profile. This is somebody that's very detail oriented. They ask a lot of questions. They want very clear and complete answers. And we could say, oh, well, that person is a C, and therefore I am always going to treat that person in this way because that's who they are. I really, really enjoyed learning the DISC training from Joe and Dawn Peachy. They're wonderful trainers, and they taught me something. I have always had a problem with assessments. When I would go to take the assessment test, it would say, how do you handle this situation? How do you handle that situation? And I was always sit there and go, well, at home or at work? With my kids or with colleagues? Because those answers are different for my different roles, and I always struggled. But when I took this class with the Peachies, they said something that just was so mind clearing about these assessment things. And that is that you have a DNA. So you do have a place where you live in the DISC assessment. I'm surprisingly an interactive. A lot of energy, fast-paced, people person, that's me. But that doesn't mean that I can't operate as my opposite, the calculating person who's very detail-oriented and asks a lot of questions and wants complete answers. So what they taught was that you have a sort of place where you live, but that you can move around the DISC at will, moment by moment. So just because an assessment says that you are something doesn't mean that you have to live in that box. And we make the mistake of putting people that we know into these boxes, and then they don't have, we interact with them, they don't have a choice to change. They don't have the opportunity to show you another side of themselves. Or when they do, we're shocked because, well, I thought he was an introvert. If my husband had decided that because he was an introvert, he was not going to go out and network and meet new people and promote our business, he would not have grown as a person. If I had said, oh, he's an introvert, I'm not going to take him anywhere. I'm going to be the face of the business. He's going to be behind the scenes, and I'm not going to give him the opportunity to go out and do things that interact with other people, then he would not have been able to grow as a person. And sometimes even though I'm an extrovert, it doesn't mean that I can't sit on the couch and curl up with a blanket and turn on TV movies for a day and a half and not talk to anyone. We all move throughout our different assessments and personalities. And whenever we tell ourselves that somebody else is something and we leave them there and we define them there, then that doesn't help anybody. So make sure that whenever you are interacting with your customers, when you're interacting with your peers, when you are going out and networking and connecting with other people, that you actually are making connections, and that you're not starting out walking into the meeting going, here's my box. You have to stay in this box. Don't move out of this box. And this is my expectation of you. Because when we allow them to, people will surprise us in great and wonderful ways. So don't put your customers in a box. Don't say, you're an introvert or an extrovert, or you're in the disc profile. You don't say to somebody else in your own mind, of course you're not saying this to them, this is the way you're communicating with them, this is the way you are relating to them. When you do this and you have that limitation on who they are in your brain, then that's all they are. So allow the tools. The boxes are tools. They are wonderful tools, but that's all they are. They don't determine who you are as a person, who your customers are. They just give us the tools to communicate better. As I said, I'm a fast-paced people person. And a lot of times customers will come into the store, they'll call on the telephone, and they will be slow-paced people. And so I need to adjust the way I communicate with them. I articulate, I slow down, I listen, I let them finish all of their questions before I try to answer them, and I try to keep up with the questions that they're asking. And for me, that is a conscious decision. I am reflecting what they're giving to me. But if somebody comes in and they're slow paced and they are, and they come in and I say, oh, well, they're slow paced and I'm going to talk to them very quietly. Well, when they come to pick up their job, they might be on their way somewhere. They might need to get in and get out, and they don't want any chit chat. They just want to do what they need to do and go on with their day. And if I'm going, wow, this is a slow paced person, I need to stop and ask them questions and talk to them, and then that might be a frustration for them, because when they came in that day, they weren't a slow-paced person. They were a fast-paced person. Get in, get out, get on with my day. So make sure that you are not telling your customers who they are. Let them tell you, because from day to day, from moment to moment, it could change. When circumstances change in people's lives, when an extrovert has a death in their family, they might become an introvert for a while, for a minute, for a day, for an hour, for a week. As they're processing what's going on in their lives, they could change. So we need to be in tune, that's the word, in tune with who people are when they're interacting with us. One thing that I wanted to talk about, I've been talking about specifically customers, people we network with, business people, neighbors. But now I want to talk about the box and you. Are you putting yourself in a box? Are you saying, I'm an NTJBXWQ and therefore I can't do that because my personality doesn't do that? Are you telling yourself, I'm an introvert, therefore I can't do a FaceTime Live? I can't go to a networking event and make connections. I can't speak to strangers on the street and tell them about my business. If you allow these boxes to define who you are, instead of stepping outside of the box, we're always told to think outside the box. But did you ever think that the box you need to think outside of is your definition of yourself? So make sure that you're not putting yourself in a box, that you are allowing yourself to go beyond what your assessment says you are, what your introvert extrovert personality says that you are, that your optimistic or pessimistic view limits you to just exactly what the box allows. So I encourage you to let yourself out of the box. Don't allow these definitions, these tools, they're tools. They do not define who you are as a person. They're tools. So don't let them stick you in a box and keep you from the success that you want because, oh, I can't do that. I'm an extrovert. I can't do spreadsheets. I'm not a detail person. I can't do that. You can. It may be more stressful. It may take much more focus. It may take a lot more time, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it. And I encourage you to not let yourself be defined by something like a box. And go ahead and believe that you can do whatever it is that you need to do in your business and in your life. And step outside of that box. And that's how we grow. That's where we grow. I mentioned that my husband is an introvert. And, you know, I did indulge his introvert side when we first started our business. I went out, I was the face. Whenever we would go to networking meetings and that kind of thing, I would always give him the opportunity, you know, are you sure you want to, you know, talk? Do you want me to do all the talking? And it was very, very difficult for him in the beginning because these were not comfortable situations for him. And so I always was a little bit protective of him, knowing how he was, you know, how he was processing things. And then one day we were probably maybe a year into our business, and we went to a networking event. And at that event, everybody got to stand up and say who they are and what they do. And that particular day, the organizer said, "Who wants to go first?" And my husband raised his hand. The introvert raised his hand. Not only was he willing to stand up and speak, but he wanted to go first. And he has grown so much in his interpersonal relationships because he didn't let that box of introvert define who he is as a business person. And I encourage you to not get stuck in that box. The box could be really little. I dropped the little tiny one, or it could be much bigger. But a box is a box. So I encourage you to challenge yourself. Those things that you think you can't do because of your personality, your assessments, what someone else outside of you has defined as who you are, I encourage you to go beyond that, to stretch yourself, because that's where growth happens. When we get a little bit outside our comfort zone, when we get way outside our comfort zone, that's where we grow, that's where we change, that's where we become the next level of who we are. So that's my question for today. What's in the box? Are your customers in the box? Are you in the box? I encourage you to open the box and set yourself and your customers free. So I haven't seen any questions thus far today, but I do know that some people are on live. It's not telling me who it is, but hey! And I know a lot of people watch these later, and I think that that's really great. I encourage you, whether you're on live or you're watching it later, go ahead and leave comments down below. Let's have a conversation. Let's make this about more than just me talking to you at lunch. And I hope you have your lunch and you're eating your lunch. Again, I have not yet done that, so I'll be grabbing some lunch when I leave. But I do want to share a couple things with you. I have some super exciting news, super exciting for me. I've shown you this guy before. Got this. That's Holden. Is one of my rats. My book, Legendary Business From Rats to Riches, is at the publisher. He is on the verge of sending the print edition and the electronic edition where it needs to go. I have a workbook that accompanies it, and that's in its final stages as well. And in a few weeks, I'll be able to announce our launch date. I encourage you to put that on your calendar, and when we do the launch, it'll be 99 cents for the book, and encourage you to, of course, get it and share it with as many people as you can. I'm terribly excited about this. My first time as a published author, and it's a great book. It's fun. It's got tons of useful information. It is not one of those high level books where they're talking about things that are way above your business. It's really practical, real world applications and advice and things that you can do so that you can take your business from where it is now to the success that you have dreamed about for your business. And so I'm really, really excited about that. And you'll hear more as we get some definite dates on when that launch is going to take place. And in addition, I also have a blog post that I'm going to add down below. You can find it on SharonGaluzzo.com under the tab Sharon Shares. That's where all my blog posts are. And eventually I'm going to take these Facebook Lives and put those up there as well. So they'll be there, you can go and watch it again, but it will remain on my Facebook page, Sharon Galuzzo. And but I'm going to connect the blog post there. It's called The Problem with the Glass, and it takes another spin on exactly what we've been talking about today. Your success, your path, what you're doing to change the world, what you're doing to provide for your family, your business, your passion is not limited by the definition that somebody gives to you. And I encourage you to read it. It's really cute. Does have a Disney film reference, so there's a little teaser for you. And I think that's all I have for today. I really appreciate you tuning in, watching live. I appreciate you watching it later. And please do comment below, and I will get back to you with any questions that you have. And just leave this Facebook Live with one more encouragement to get out of the box. Thanks.